Hi Stampers, it's Debbie with Stamp It with Debbie, and I'm here on week 3 of the 8 weeks of Halloween to share with you our third project in the series. This week I'm showing you this fun pull-out card, and I have little pop rocks. I don't know if you remember those, fun candy, and I just have attached that to the card and that pulls right out. You could sign your greeting on the back here or on the back of the card. I'm using the Cauldron Bubble stamp set along with the Cauldron Framelits dies from the new holiday catalog. If you haven't seen the catalog yet, you can go to my online store at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net and click on holiday catalog, and you'll be able to see all of the new items that were just released by Stampin' Up. So let's get started creating this project. I'm going to give you the measurements first of the things that you need, and we are first going to use our card base is a piece of Granny Apple Green cut to 4 1/4 by 11. You also need 2 pieces of designer paper cut at 4 inches by 3 inches and 4 inches by 1 5/8. You also need a piece of Whisper White cardstock cut to 3 1/4 by 5. And then I just used a couple scraps of the Mango Melody. This is cut at 3/4 of an inch to about 2 inches. We're going to cut a banner out of the end of that. I cut a stitched framelit circle using Granny Apple Green, and also another stitched framelit circle using Whisper White. And then from the coordinating cardstock, this is how the whole sheet is. One of these do coordinate with the framelit in the Cauldron Bubble framelits. The other ones don't coordinate, so I just cut this out with a pair of scissors. It doesn't take too long to cut that out. So that's what we have here. I'm also going to stamp and cut a couple images with the framelits. So I think we should do that first. We'll set this aside, set the card aside. I just have a scrap of Whisper White, and I'm going to stamp the broom and the cat. And for the broom, I'm going to use soft suede and stamp that right on there. And then for the cat, I'm going to use Memento Black. Stamp him on there. And now I need to get my Big Shot and my framelits, and we'll cut this out. We're going to place the piece that we need to cut. This is our multi-purpose platform, and we have both of the flaps closed down. And then we have one of the clear plates, and then we have our piece that we want to cut out. We're going to adjust the framelits over the top, and you want to have this cut edge going down so it can cut out your pattern here. So we're going to put one more clear plate on top of that and run it through the Big Shot. And now both of our pieces will be cut out. Might have been easier maybe to color those before we cut them out, but either way you can still do it. It just might be a little easier to do it before, that way you have something to color on. But now I'm going to grab a piece of scrap paper. Oh, this should work here. I'm going to grab my blender pens so that we can color these. And the colors that I'm using today, I'm going to use Flirty Flamingo Light for inside of the cat's ears and his nose. And then I'm going to use Light Smoky Slate for the cat. I'm going to use light mango melody for the broom, and I'm also going to use light crumb cake. I'm sorry, dark crumb cake for the broom. So I'm just going to color in the broom handle. And I'm going to color in these little bands here holding the broom together with the crumb cake. And then I'm going to use the mango melody to color the broom. And the flirty flamingo, as I said, for the cat ears. Just the inside of his ears and his nose. And then I'm going to use the light smoky slate for coloring in the cat. Oops, and I just realized I colored in his eyeballs. So my cat is going to have gray eyeballs. I would recommend you keep them white. Oops. Okay, so my cat and my broom are all done. Set aside those. And then I have these two little pieces, and we don't need the scrap paper anymore. So the next thing that we're going to need is our scoreboard. And we are going to take our piece of granny apple green, cut again at 4 1/4 by 11, and we're going to score in two places. We're going to score at 1 3/4, and we're going to score at 5 1/2. And that is all the scoring that we need to do. We want to take our bone folder and just burnish the edges to make sure that everything is crisply folded down there. Now this is the 1 3/4 inch, so basically the card is in half, and then you're doing one more score for this flap that's going to go down. So what you want to do is put adhesive along these two edges of the shorter side. You want to use a pretty strong adhesive because people, whoever you send this to, are going to be pulling that card with the treat on it out. So I'm using tear and tape, and I'm just going to take the backing off and bring it forward. So it's only on the small piece, not this flap. So this is what your card is going to look like. It's still going to have this flap. Now we want to take our piece of designer paper, and we don't need it for the whole piece here because this flap is going to be down, so we just want to put it down here at the bottom and leave a little border all the way around. And now we can bring this piece down and attach it. And then you can't really see, but this is the 1 3/4 inch piece, so we're going to take this piece of designer paper and put that right on top of there. And then we can start assembling the rest of the card. The other thing that we need to stamp is this piece, and I'm going to use the smoky slate. And I think it's probably best if I show you here. It's just a bunch of little stars. I thought that would kind of dress up the inside. You could also use this little ghost, or the frog would be cute inside because you have frog paper, but I'm going to use just the little stars, and I'm just going to randomly stamp them all over. And remember, you're having your treat on the inside, so it's not necessary to cover every single bit of it. So that part is done. And then the other thing we want to do, and I'm sorry I can't remember the name of this, but I will leave it in the link. It has 3 different corners. You can do a corner punch. We're going to use this right here to make a hole in the top for our ribbon. So you just want to put it all the way through and kind of center it up. Make sure it's equal on both sides, and then just push towards the front. You don't need to push the whole thing in the middle, just kind of push towards the front, and that will punch your hole right there. So this piece, all we need left to do is put some ribbon on that. So I think let's do that now. I'm going to cut a piece of the glittered organdy ribbon, and it's very, very sparkly. It's my favorite. And we're going to put that through this hole here. And we're going to take a piece of the linen thread, and I'm going to cut a good amount because I want to tie a bow around this. To hold it in place. I'm just going to cut the ends off a little bit so they're not quite so long, and then I'm going to cut a little bit of an angle for both of these pieces so it looks a little cleaner. And then the last thing we really need to do for this is put our pop rocks on there, and we want to use a pretty strong adhesive to hold those on. So I'm going to use a couple pieces of the tear and tape. And I'm going to peel the backing off. I used to love these pop rocks as a kid. I actually have one pack left over, and maybe I'll eat them. They're pumpkin patch orange. All right, we're going to set that aside for just a minute so we can finish this part of our card. So we are going to take these two Mango Melody pieces, and we're going to cut a banner in the end, and I'm going to cut both of them at the same time. If you've seen my videos before, I'll show you how to cut a banner. Just cut up the middle a little bit, however deep you want your banner. Cut in from one edge to that banner. Oh, I think they're sticking because I'm doing two at once. And then cut in the other side. I probably should have done those one at a time. And then you'll get a little banner if you don't have a banner punch. Now we want to take our stitched piece and just put a little bit of adhesive on the back. And I'm just going to kind of stagger my banners just a little bit. And then this piece can be put right on the front of the card. And you want to have kind of a lot of adhesive because you're going to have several layers. So I'm going to put that piece on, and then I'm going to put the white stitched framelit right on top of that. I need to have my witch on there, so I'll put a little adhesive on her. And then the broom that I created, and I probably should have some, I'll try and do it with this. I forgot to bring my liquid glue. That probably would have been the best thing. And I'm going to stick that right on there. I'm going to put my cat on with a couple pieces of, I'm sorry, not a couple pieces, a couple of the mini dimensionals. I'm going to stick those right on there just to give them a little pop. And then we'll put our cat right there by the broom. I also have a piece of cardstock, 1/2 inch by 2.5 inches, and we're going to stamp the Happy Halloween with the black Memento ink. Ink it up really well. And I'll try to stamp this straight, but ooh, not too bad. And I'm gonna cut it down just a little because again I'm gonna cut a banner onto this edge here. And I think I'll put a couple dimensionals on the back of that as well. Take the backing off, and then here's our card. So we can just put it right down here at the bottom. And then we can put our treat that slides right inside. And there are 2 Halloween cards. With the treat inside, you may need to put a little extra postage, but if you're just handing it out to someone, this will fit right into a regular A2 size envelope, which is a standard envelope in the stamping world. If you need supplies for this project or any other project, you can visit my store again at stampitwithdebbie.stampinup.net. And if you liked this video, I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button and come back again next week for week 4. And we will be doing 8 weeks right up until Halloween of Halloween projects. Thank you for stopping by today, and I appreciate you coming, and we'll see you again soon.